Trading to tower, you are clear for takeoff. Before the show begins, remember that trading involves risk, and anything shared in our content should not be construed as financial advice.
I do have some trades on. I am long Aussie CAD.
For these positions, I wouldn't mind holding them for 3 months.
So around 100.5 to 99.5 in that sort of area.
Pulver alerts, I have 100 shares at 11.79. I closed out today.
Start building your strategy based upon historical data.
Welcome to A1 Trading.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just getting stream set up. Make sure everything is good here. Okay. Sorry for the weird start. I was looking at the stream schedule, and we were supposed to start at 9, but it seems like on YouTube it was scheduled earlier. So apologies for the mix-up, and we should be good to go. Hope everyone's doing well and staying safe in these markets, man. It is volatile out there, I'll tell you what. We'll be taking a look at several charts here, as always, in today's live stream. Going to check in on precious metals, indices, individual stocks, because there was some stuff that took place last night, and then currencies, of course, as well. Let's see what we've got going on here in terms of today's market action. Interestingly, you have S&P 500, NASDAQ. They're making pushes lower following Palantir's earnings yesterday. But was there something else? I just need a double check. Was there something else that took place? Because the market is down a good bit today. I don't see anything obvious. Anyways, if somebody knows of something that hit the headlines, I'm kind of out of it here this morning, trying to catch up on everything. I'm still long the NASDAQ. Interestingly, I want to show you something on Qs. Today, we are in an interesting situation where the next move is likely to fill a gap. We have a gap left open from yesterday's price, and we have a gap left open from the previous week's gap open. Bowman was very hawkish. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, so must have been. We can kind of see that in the dollar, right? Because the dollar's up. Dollar continues to push. Yields are up, but not too crazy. Bulin says, hi, Nick, I'm long gold and you're short. That's why it's consolidating. Maybe so. Yeah, we'll talk about gold in just a second. I wanted to just look here quickly at where we're at with the NASDAQ. So last night we had Palantir earnings, which I'm not exactly sure what it was about Palantir earnings that was disappointing to the market, but it was certainly a little bit more disappointing than anticipated. So we had the initial spike. I think the numbers were good. Yeah, they beat earnings and revenues, but some sort of forward guidance must have spooked market investors on Palantir. We see the stock trading down 8% here this morning, which, for Palantir, that's just an everyday thing. To move up or down 8% is almost normal for this stock. But Palantir, of course, a really big AI related name, a big exciting story, defense contractor stuff for AI, and kind of one of the most predominant names when it comes to the AI rally. So we do look at these things when it comes to the overall state of the stock market rally, which, let's face it, is built massively on AI, right? The big tech companies, Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, OpenAI, which is not yet public, but still is a huge part of the story. These names are built around the hype that is AI. Now, is the hype legitimate? Only time will tell. I think long-term AI, there's no question it is legitimate. It's incredibly powerful software. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, in my local world, like my efficiency with AI is incredibly higher. Like I can do so many more things. Like I went to school for computer science, and now I barely write any programming or I write any code. Uh, Not to say I don't know how. I mean, I'm a little rusty, to be honest, but rather that I don't need to. AI helps to punch out the code that I want it to write really quick. So it's a massive efficiency builder. So I am a believer in AI in terms of it changing the world. I don't think many people would dispute that it is. It's an incredible technology. However, and a lot of people who don't think it will have not yet fully actually started to use it. And eventually everyone will. It's kind of like the internet. At first, everyone was like, there was like a subsect. It was like niche at first to use the internet. And now all of us are using the internet right now. Every single person uses the internet. So the point is, I think AI is the same thing. I think eventually it's already mass adoption way faster than the internet. But with time, I think that will only accelerate further. Hey, Vanessa, good to see you, my friend. Nice to have you in the chat. What's up, Sluggy? Ball out. Caleb, 11 seconds. Good to see everyone in here. Alan, hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, so what I was saying is basically we have a little bit of an interesting story playing out on the Qs this morning, which is the NASDAQ. I actually like looking at the NASDAQ and the SPY quite a bit. The reason is because I actually like the gaps. I know some people are like, oh, I hate seeing gaps in my chart. I love the gaps. The gaps tell you where low volume, essentially overnight trading took place, which oftentimes these things do get filled, but it's not a certainty, right? So we don't have to guarantee that this is going to go fill, but it looks pretty likely that you could get a pretty quick push down, fill this gap, and then we kind of reset from there. My personal opinion is that I think that dips on the Qs, dips on the NASDAQ, S&P 500 will likely be bought. I'm still in the camp of thinking that an end of year rally is very likely. And so that I think that if you do get this move into support, that buyers likely will step in. I say likely because we never know with certainty. I've been hitting that line over and over on my channel here recently because I see a lot of people who are, it's been a tough year for a lot of people. And I understand that. Trading is really hard. Investing is really hard. Everything about financial markets is really hard. One of the quickest ways to improve is to stop thinking you know what's going to happen. People who think they know what's going to happen with certainty lose money in markets almost certainly. Because if I quote unquote knew, or I thought I knew that the NASDAQ is going to go up from here, right? And I say it's a given. It is for sure going to take out the highs and we're going to rally into year's end. Well, here's the problem with that. I might be right. And if I leveraged up and took a huge position because I was so full of myself on it's going to go up, I can make a lot of money. But what if I'm wrong this time? Well, if I'm wrong this time, in actuality, I'll take profits. But let's say I bought it right here and I took a big trade. If I took a big trade and I'm wrong, it's going to hurt. We always have to be thinking, what's going to happen if we're just completely wrong? And a lot of traders don't actually take the time to think through that process. So if I could leave you with one thing today, one thing to think about in your trading is every time you place a trade, ask yourself with humility, what am I going to do if I'm so wrong? Right? That's the thing. Because everyone's wrong at times. S&P 500 pulling back here this morning. You can kind of see S&P 500 filled this gap here. Let's take a look at it on the SPY though, just to see SPY 4-hour chart. You can see we kind of actually gapped through the gap, interestingly, on the SPY. So yeah, I think price, to be honest, is just pulling back, just testing into this area currently on the Qs, on the NAS, on the S&P 500. IWM probably also down here pretty sharply this morning as well. Yeah, this trade is back in the red. I'm watching this area that I essentially took this trade in, this area of support. Demand on the 4-hour chart. So I'm long the Russell 2000. I bought the IWM ETF. I'd like to see price hold this area And if it doesn't, it may be time to take the loss. Another trade that I'm likely to take a loss on is Bitcoin. Went long Bitcoin at support, really off the weekly chart. But this one's not working out well. Looks like I'm probably going to stop out on this one. If it can't hold, I'm on my last chance for Bitcoin. If it can't hold this area, then I'm going to take a loss on this one. I think I'm down $2,500 right now on IBIT, 2,300. Yeah, so I'll take a 2,500 or so loss on Bitcoin if it continues to push lower today. So Bitcoin not really working out. Russell, like I said, kind of back to break even to slightly red. And so far, gold is working well. So I've got my gold short still active. I mean, it's not really moved very far from my entry, but I am still short gold. Thought process here for gold is a move back down to longer term areas of support. At that point, I'd be looking to trail stops pretty tight and just take profits on it. So we'll see. Nothing works out all the time. So, that's the thing is on my channel, I'll show you the realities of what it means to be a trader. Everyone in the comment section is always right, apparently. But in reality, we are all always going to have things that we're just so off on. And interestingly, social media is a place where a lot of content creators, they have the choice, right? Like I have the choice. I could just show you what has worked for me, but I would find that to be dishonest. Like here's a trade that I took, and if I lose money, oh well, I've taken this trade 1,000 times, I'll make money in the end, right? That's the point. Trading is not about this trade or the next trade or whatever. That's the thought process of losing traders is this trade, I've got to hit it. Whereas profitability in trading doesn't come from one trade. Profitability comes from just every day showing up, taking the same trading system and applying a small risk per trade so that you don't blow up when you're wrong. So same thing with gold. I have a reason to be short gold. I explained it in my videos yesterday. If I'm wrong about this and price breaks higher, then I stop out here, controlled loss. For the NASDAQ, as I mentioned, my plan here is I have my stop loss trailed on this. And I should probably just add in my 4-hour chart levels here as well. So 4-hour chart of support there. I also think that this area where we gapped open from could act as support. We also have tentative support around current levels. Just depends how this plays out. But if we want to fill in this gap, I think that's perfectly reasonable. I also think it's perfectly reasonable if the NASDAQ wants to backtest into, 610 territory for QQQ. And if it does, I'm fine with that if it can find support. Like if we can find support off these areas, I'll stay in the trade. But if we can't and we come crashing lower and there's just no buyer stepping in, okay, I take profits. I'm out of there. Risk so small that it doesn't bother you. Exactly, Sluggy. That's it. Because again, you got a lot of know-it-alls all over Discord, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube comments. You got a lot of know-it-alls that won't show you their portfolio, right? The thing is, everybody's wrong way more than they want to admit. Everyone in this chat, every single one of us, me, you, the person next to you, the person 3 doors down, everybody in trading is wrong pretty frequently. They just don't want to say that out loud. They think they're so smart, and yet at the end of the day, the only thing that matters, look, I'll show you my portfolio frequently because I have no hesitations. I've been doing this for a very long time. I know what works in the end, but I also know that in between now and the end, I'm going to have so many things that I'm so dead wrong about in trading, and that's okay. So the thing is, you don't need to be right all the time. And that is just a big hurdle for people to get over. They look at this and they say, I know what the market's going to do. And I remember that phase. Like when I first got into trading, my thought process of what a profitable trader was somebody who knew what the market was going to do all the time. Like my thought process was a really good trader, like had some sort of like finger on the pulse of what's going to happen next in markets, only to realize, years later that the greatest traders in the world are the first ones to admit when they were wrong and say, oh, nope, I was completely off on that. it's like, wait a second. I thought good trading meant being a genius and calling tops and bottoms and being perfect at trading. It's like, no, not at all. Good traders just lose less than they win over time. Nick, do you know who Dr. David William Paul is? He died in 2023. I learned a lot from him. He explains how win rates related with the math. It explained my view for the markets forever. No, I haven't, Bulent, but might need to check that out. Again, it's a rewire your brain. If you want to be a profitable trader, get all that garbage social media stuff, like all the Lambo lifestyle, all that stuff. Get it like off your feed. It's so toxic for your growth as a trader. If you want to be a profitable trader, get that garbage out of here and understand that it's about making a small return compounded over many years of doing this. You are not going to make a lot of money quickly in trading. It's a pipe dream that is sold on social media because it sells courses really easily. Right? So just something to think about. Also, when I first started 4 years ago, I used to think that the market owes me money for spending time on the desk. That is so true, right? You have that entitlement to like, oh, I can, I'm owed my next big win in the markets. Look, markets are really hard. They're just so difficult. I was thinking about this morning. I was like, I don't even know. There's not one thing about markets that are easy. Like I was trying to think like, oh, maybe the easy answer is to just buy and hold the S&P 500 and never look at the charts and you'll probably do okay. And that's true, but you can also get a 10-year period where you get no return. And then I thought, well, what about if maybe I just buy dividend stocks and don't look at the stock market for 10 years and I'll do well. And that's true. You will get dividends paid to you. That's great. But there's a good chance you probably underperform just buying the S&P 500 because dividend stocks, it's not always the case, but dividend stocks typically with that surefire bet, you're going to get paid. It's slow and steady companies. There's not very much risk compared to buying the riskier thing. And over time, risk has paid out well. But risk doesn't always pay out well in the stock market. So it's like, there's no easy answer. There is absolutely no easy solution in trading or investing. Nothing is easy about it. It is hard work. Also, inflation eats your profits too. Yes, true. Just nothing easy about anything about financial markets. Looking at oil here really quick, let's talk about this one. So I've been watching for oil breakouts. We never got it. Price sold off here, selling off again here this morning. And manufacturing PMI data came in a little soft, hurting the score for oil prices within Edgefinder. So this idea that I had for now is kind of put on pause. Look at the Chinese stock market. Yeah, let's look at it. It's pulling back, I bet you, right? Yeah, it's coming down to that area we talked about yesterday. Yeah, so hard to letting go of that garbage. It's like trying to quit smoking. Yeah, I think you're talking about like the lifestyle stuff. It's so easy to get addicted to that stuff, right? Like, let me just ask the audience really quick. Weigh in on this. Drop a comment really quick. Have you found yourself like enthralled by that before? Be honest. Type yes in the chat. Like I have, like that concept of like social media lifestyle, like trading is this like really, I work 2 hours a day and I make so much money. Like I'll be the first one to raise my hand and be like, man, I bought into that. That was cool. Like I wanted that. That's awesome. But like, if you can take a second to just in your brain, like I'm telling you, you will be so much better off if you do this exercise with me really quick. In your brain, denounce that. Like, when the what is it's like when the priest like puts holy water on something, denounce that ish, okay? Because that is going to destroy your chances of becoming a profitable trader. Ironically, the same garbage, that stuff is the P word, okay? The really naughty P word, PR, that word. That's what it is for traders. It is brain rotting garbage that tells you a lie about the financial markets only to enrich the person that is doing that content. Please understand, when you watch that content, when you find yourself like brain rotting into that stuff, when you're like obsessive of that stuff, understand you are enriching that person and he is brain rotting your brain. That's not helping you, or she, I guess. There's females that do that too, I guess. The point is, if you want to be profitable in trading, it's like any other skill set. It is not much different than a standard career path. Like, it's a tremendous amount of work. I research all the time. And look, transparently, I have made a lot of money in the financial markets. I'm telling you that, like, not to brag, but to let you know, I have reached the financial things that I wanted to reach in the financial markets. And I work like a dog. Okay. It's not an easy lifestyle. Now, granted, I do other things. I run a business and, we build the Edge Finder and like we do other things. So that's my day job. But to be completely transparent with you, the only reason my trading account is a good size is because I bring a product and service to the market that helped me to grow my trading account transparently. Like, that's what the Edge Finder, I think the Edge Finder is a remarkable tool. It's a data set that we've built over the last years, but this is a real full-time job to build and maintain this stuff. So I have a big boy job, right, on top of my trading. So even, after 10 years of doing this, I still have a day job that helps me to fund my trading dreams. Like, I could trade off of, I could live off my trading returns alone, but that would be boring. And I don't like the idea of just sitting around watching charts all day. I like building stuff, and I love building products for a community of traders who love what we build. I can't even tell you, like, that is such a cool, fulfilling thing for me in my life, is like building this tool and the feedback we get from customers all around the world. I've met so many people through this campaign of building the Edge Finder. I've grown my understanding of financial markets massively by building a tool that interprets what the data is showing us. Like, a lot of my fundamental analysis growth has come from the Edge Finder. So just something to think about is, like, I said in this post that I made this morning, let me see if I can share this with you really quick. Let me just pull this up here. So I made this post here this morning. I said 7 rules that led me to becoming a profitable trader. Follow price momentum. Follow the dominant macro fundamental trends. Let winners run. Cut losers quick. Accept that you will be wrong often. Make winners count and keep losers controlled. Swing and position trading is greater than day trading, in my personal humble opinion. After all these years, I know way more profitable I know like 10-fold profitable swing traders and position traders than day traders. I'm not killing your dreams. If you want to day trade or scalp, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I know a lot of traders. Like, I've been around the industry for a while. I know a lot of traders. I know a lot of profitable traders, 10 to 20 times more swing traders and position traders than day traders. Why? Day trading has high trading fees, the highest trading fees. You're paying a ton of money to the brokerage, spreads and commissions. And you're fighting noise and you're fighting the algorithms. I'm not saying you can't make money doing it, but I'm saying the odds are the most stacked against you when you trade the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, all that stuff. That is the hardest way to become a profitable trader, in my opinion. And people also say, like, well, you can make more being a day trader. I would actually say no, because the stats favor the longer the hold period on average, the more money a trader or investor tends to make. Almost everyone loses money, but the people that do make money, there's a higher percentage of people making money that hold for longer stretches of time than day traders. The reason I say that is not my gut feeling. Look this stuff up. Brokerages report this data. Holding times have a direct correlation to success rate. People who hold for 10 years tend to do the best. Like, in terms of, I should say, let me back up. They tend to have a profitable campaign the most often. Not necessarily make the most money. Like, are there super profitable day traders? Sure. But what I'm saying is that the percentage of people that make a profit goes up the longer you extend duration, right? So people who are trading for, like holding trades for 5 minutes tend to have a lower success rate than people who are trading and holding things for a month. Does mastering the lower time frames make you a better higher time frame trader? No. No, I don't think so. Again, is swing trading superior objectively in terms of success rate? Yes. You may not like swing trading more, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying you can't make money as a day trader. I'm just saying objectively the stats favor swing trading. And personal, anecdotally, I know a lot of traders. I know like a handful of day traders who I'd say, oh yeah, they're consistently making money, and it's not very many. Go for 2% per month gains on average. Super boring. Nobody wants to hear this because it means you're not going to make money quick, but it's the truth. Everybody who goes for a significantly larger return than this tends to blow up over time. Like they might do really well for a while and then give it all back. People who go slow and steady tend to survive. Small risk per trade with no leverage. Little to no leverage, in my opinion, is a life hack. Most people think it's the opposite. They think, let me scale this thing up so I can make more money. That's typically what blows them up. This helps with avoiding nasty drawdowns. And I said, find a hobby outside of trading. So the reason I brought this up is because my hobby, I mean, it's also my job. It's also my work, is what I'm doing right now. I like content creating. I really enjoy being on camera, presenting things, sharing my thoughts on stuff. I love learning about financial markets, even markets that I don't necessarily trade. I love learning about them. Like this is a hobby outside of just, you know, execution for money. So, you know, my hobby is also building software and building tools and, you know, that side of things as well. I also have other hobbies, but that's what I wanted to get to with that. Hey, James. Yeah, I think we were scheduled. The reason we started the stream, I'm talking to the producer really quick. The reason I started the stream a little earlier is because I saw it on YouTube as still scheduled for 8:15, and there was a bunch of people waiting. So I just jumped in here and started the stream. But I know we still have 9:30, so I'll just go a little longer than usual. Nick, did you ever scalp? I mean, I've tried it, never had any sustainable success with it. Long swap rates on US30. Oh yeah, so if you're gonna hold indices for a longer period of time, probably not smart to do them through CFDs. You could do futures contracts. They have very low holding fees. ETFs, very low trading fees. But yeah, if you want to hold indices longer periods of time, CFDs are not the way. CFDs are better for like short-term trading and scalping, day trading, etc. Day trading sucks. 4 years deep and already moving to swing trading, 5 to 10% risk for a 2R a month is also good money. No need for 8R day trading crap, getting wicked out and stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's still noise in the higher time frames. Understand that nothing in markets is easy. Like every single thing you think, oh, this is going to be easier. It's not necessarily significant easier, but maybe slightly easier, in my opinion, to swing trade. But risking 5 to 10% per trade, I'd also be really careful with that, because that can lead to some horrible drawdowns. In fact, if you risk like 5%, 10% per trade, you can easily get yourself into a 50, 60% drawdown, which is like almost impossible to recover from. I typically risk 0.25 to 3% at the absolute maximum in a particular trade. And typically if I'm doing a 3% risk on a trade, it's like a longer term, you know, position trade. It's not like a 4-hour chart breakout trade. I have been a swing trader for the last like 8 years. I pretty quickly moved to swing trading because I never really loved the concept of day trading, and pretty quickly found in back testing that day trading is you're just fighting a lot of forces. You're fighting noise, higher time or high frequency algorithms, which sounds like this Fugazi thing, but it's real. It causes a lot of noise back and forth. But finally, the biggest thing I think is you're fighting trading fees, right? Like when you are entering and exiting the market, every time you do that, you're paying the broker, right? One way or another, you are paying the broker. So the less executions are going to eat less of your profits, right? If you are in and out 10 times a day, you are like feeding the broker probably most of the profits that you're making anyways. over time, like not necessarily every day, but over time. Nick, the only thing I disagree with you is the topic of leverage. Leverage is just a tool. For those who don't know how to use it, it's a nightmare. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, leverage is a tool. I just personally, the reason I'm not a big fan of leverage is I have never really needed to use leverage to still make decent gains. And by the way, that's not a reason to use leverage. Using leverage because you're like, well, my gains aren't big enough. That's a terrible reason to use leverage. Horrible. That's like mistake number one that a lot of traders make with it is they're like, well, I don't make enough from my small account, so let me leverage it up. That's how you blow your account. There are times where leverage can be useful, but it's incredibly rare where I would personally use any sort of leverage. Let's check in on some of the trades. Gold, I'm still short on this one. I might trim my stop here just a little bit. I'll probably do that here this morning. Again, gold shorts are on for now. I'd like to see from a 4-hour chart perspective, I'd like to see this level break. I'd also like to see us come down and test this area, but really the big one would be if we can break through prior lows around 3,900, that could help us to get back down here. But for now, we seem to be rejecting off of this 4,000 area, right? The general 4,000 to 4,040 level of resistance looking left seems to still be holding. This was support. We broke lower and now seem to be respecting for now off the 4-hour chart this area. Why don't you make Edgefinder a monthly subscription? We get people asking this all the time. There is an option to do it in installment plans. The reason we don't do a subscription into Continuum is because over the long stretch, if you're serious about your trading, Edgefinder being a one-time cost means you save a ton of money if you're still here in 5 years, 10 years, and those are the customers we want anyways. We want people who see themselves trading 5 to 10 years from now. If that's you, the Edgefinder is cheap as anything over that stretch of time. Now, we do also offer, for people who can't make the full payment in one go, we do also offer subscriptions in the form of a installment plan. So you could split it into 2 or 3 payments if that is something that you need to do. Let me share with you how you can do that. So if you haven't heard, by the way, we're currently doing our biggest discount of the year on the Edgefinder. It is our Black Friday sale. We just kicked it off here this week. We are currently doing 45% off on the Edgefinder for a limited time. So transparently, we do not go lower than this. And I also had a question that I wanted to respond to. Someone asked, well, are you going to drop the price even further on Cyber Monday or Black Friday? No, this is our biggest discount, 45% off. That is it. We will not be doing some sort of gotcha on Cyber Monday. We're not going to like drop it to 55. 45 is the biggest that we do this year. That is the biggest discount that we are offering all year long. We will not drop it any further from that in terms of some sort of promotion. Like I know some Black Friday deal people, companies they'll do like a 40% off and then they'll drop it to 50% on Cyber Monday. We're not going to do that. We have done that once before and it was a mistake. People really did not like that. And we apologized and made arrangement for people who were upset by that. We're not doing that. So this year, we are consistently doing 45% off. There's no lower than that in terms of a promotion. And so there you go. If you need details, if you are looking to get a copy of the Edgefinder while it is going on, click the link that's just been dropped in the chat. You can also scan the QR code below my camera if that's easier for you. So yeah. Yeah, so just shoot us a message here if you need help with setting up a payment plan, if you need to get access to the Black Friday prices. We've got support staff who are standing by who can help you out, get you set up with that discounted copy before the sale ends. Is your gold stop loss huge every time like that? It's a 1.5% distance in terms of stop loss, which I guess if you're on like a CFD brokerage in terms of pips, yeah, that's pretty big. But like I'll show you my trade here. So I shorted GLD, which is an ETF that tracks gold prices. 1.5% stop loss here is I guess it's big in terms of a CFD brokerage, but in terms of a trade size, it's pretty small. But yeah, I understand, like if you're on a CFD brokerage, that seems huge. What is that, 6,000 pips or something? I don't trade gold through a CFD. I trade it on this. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and trail this stop, or just trim this stop just slightly a little bit. Just going to really quick trim my stop here on this. Give me a second. All right. Where am I putting my stop loss here? So I want to put a stop 4,053. Okay. There we go. So I'm trimming my stop loss. I mirror all my trades on a CFD brokerage just so I can see spot price, but also so that I can do some MetaTrader automations and make stuff way easier. Okay, so I'm going to do trade update. Share this inside of the group. So bear with me. I'm just updating this really quick because I just trimmed my stop loss on gold a little bit. So if I go here, trimming my stop loss slightly to reduce my position's risk. Nice initial reaction off of the 4-hour resistance zone. Okay, so there's my stop, trimmed slightly. And let's see. I'm also just going to share a screenshot of what I'm doing here. Okay. All right, so if you're in the group, I'm about to drop this just to update where I'm at with this trade. So my stop loss has just been trimmed just slightly. Do you take all of your trades based off the Edge Finder? Pretty much, yes. It's very expensive in my country. Yeah, shoot us a message. Like I said, we make arrangements for payment plans and for people in places where the dollar's really expensive. Just send us a direct message. We'll drop that link one more time. If you need to speak to someone on our team, they can get you set up and help you out with getting a copy of Edge Finder. If you've ever thought about getting a copy, this is the time to do it because it's going to be the lowest of the year, lowest price of the year. Let's take just a closer look here in terms of top setups. Pound pair is kind of getting some weakness here. I wanted to look at some British pound stuff here. Pound dollar. Look at pound dollar, man. Oh my goodness. It just broke clean through that support level. Really crazy. Goal for 2026 is to afford the Edge Finder. Again, like I said, if you need to split it up, it's way easier to split it up. And full transparently, the reason I say that too is that we do plan to raise prices over time. It is not a guaranteed price that's going to stay the same. As the tool continues to get built bigger, our costs also go up bigger, just maintaining it and supporting a bigger crowd of people using it. So full transparency, like if you want the Edge Finder, just send us a message. Let us know what you can do, and our team can probably work with you on some fashion. So you can scan the QR code below me, or we'll drop the link here in the chat to where you can send us a message if you need some details or to work with the team on that. Just send us a message. Again, it's the smartest thing you can do is just chat with us, let us know your situation, and we can probably find something that works for you. Okay, so yeah, look at pound dollar here, completely breaking support. This is really interesting. Watch how this candle closes today, because if it closes like this, I mean, the dollar may not be done. Let's take a look at DXY. DXY must be moving. Yeah, look at that. DXY still kind of in this resistance zone. So we could see some respect from this daily chart resistance. But again, the longer we kind of stay steady at this level, the more likely I'm thinking, okay, we are probably going to go up and test that 101.5. Which would favor my gold short. Like I said, I just trimmed my stop loss. So if you've been watching from yesterday, I initially had a bigger stop loss on my gold trade. We're sitting about a 1-to-1 right now on the trade. Granted, my stop loss was bigger, so it's not my initial 1-to-1 trade. It's 1-to-1 with the new stop loss. DXY looks bullish. Yeah, it looks very strong. We'll see. The other thing I'm watching is, what does the NASDAQ do here today? Is this going to find support from last week's gap open? My initial reaction is probably yes. Probably yes. We may backfill this gap. We may test this support, prior all-time highs. But my educated guess is you probably see buyers step in these levels. Are you going to take a pound dollar short? I'll look at it, but no, because it's not on my list. There's other currency pairs with the pound that I'd be a little bit more interested in. But if I look at pound dollar, what it's going to tell me here is that pound dollar's got a mixed score. So what I look at when I take trades, it's a combination of technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and sentiment analysis that I personally like to look for if I'm going to put on a trade. And so technicals look really bearish for pound dollar, but that by itself wouldn't be enough of a reason to get short the British pound against the dollar. However, I could look at some other pound pairs which are getting more decisively bearish readings. Like, for example, pound versus Japanese yen. Let's look at this one. So we're getting a really strong reading in terms of inflation data, suggesting pound yen could see further weakness. So if I were to pull up pound yen, so this one, let's take a look at this chart. So we're sitting at support. So probably not a short right here. And we have some support down here, but we have some lower highs coming into this chart as well. But I'd be cautious on kind of assuming those are lower highs until you actually get a decisive break below this level. Because right now we could just be consolidating. Depends how the candle closes today. So if you get this kind of move, a fade into that rally could make sense, but I wouldn't take a short right here. So that's how we use Edge Finder. So I do need to clarify, Edge Finder is not a, oh, pound yen's a bearish reading, short, right? That's not how that works. The Edge Finder is just, it is just a filter for 6 key sections: sentiment, institutional activity, technical readings, economic data, jobs market signal, inflation data signal. And then you use it within the context of your own trading strategy. Sometimes people ask, is Edge Finder, it's not a trading robot, right? It doesn't tell you, oh, go out and just sell it or go buy it, right? It doesn't tell you that. It's just a filter. It looks at a collection of data and automates a ton of that process. And then we can still make up our own decisions with the readings that it's giving us. So if I go to the opposite spectrum, take a look at some of the bullish stuff. NASDAQ. So back to NAS for just a second. NAS is pulling back to our first kind of key area of support that I would say, and it makes more sense on the 4-hour chart. The NASDAQ is pulling back today to this gap open area. Then you have the gap where we kind of shot out of, and we have this area here. Didn't I just mark these things up? Maybe I did this on SPY. I thought I just, oh, I did this on Qs. That's why. Yeah, there's it on Qs. So on the Qs, right, QQQ, the ETF, I'm already long, so I wouldn't, add the trade here. If I am really bullish on the NASDAQ, this would be an area where, like, okay, maybe I could justify taking an initial attempt with really small risk, just like my gold short. Hold on, I got to sneeze. Excuse me. Just like with my gold short, I recognize it's kind of aggressive in terms of we're not in like a straight bear market for gold. So my short position is not very big relative to the account. So I do have a short position on in gold. I think we have further downside, but it's my first setup. It's not my favorite trade in the book, right? I still like the trade enough to take it, obviously, so I took the trade, but it's not like, oh, this is my A+++ setup, right? So I took the trade with a really small risk. If I was looking at NAS, it'd be the same thing here, because I recognize you're buying at very high levels. I recognize valuations are high in stocks. I recognize that the stock market's breadth has been pretty terrible. It's been a very small collection of companies who are doing really well, and the rest are kind of doing poor. Participation in this rally has been pretty bollocks, as they say over in the UK. It's not been a very highly participated in stock market rally. It's been AI stuff and everything else. And so the thing is, I still think it doesn't mean that means, by the way, I was listening to someone talk about that. When you have a top heavy market where it's like the big companies, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, the big ones, right? They're doing really well as a group compared to the rest of the S&P 500 companies, that is. That historically has not been a great indicator that the market's going to turn down. In fact, the market could join that rally, or those could join the downside move, but it's not really a good predictor of which way it's going to go. So the point that I'm getting at with that is that narrowness in markets is frustrating, and you'd prefer to see all stocks moving up, but it's not necessarily a reason to short the market or to be bearish on the market. So again, long story short, I think momentum still favors the bulls. We have a strong reading on Edgefinder. Technicals still look good. Seasonality looks phenomenal during this port. This is the strongest month historically of the year. Doesn't guarantee it, but it certainly is something to add to your calculus, right? Which the Edgefinder does. That's part of the scoring mechanisms. It looks at this month's seasonality. We can look at that on a more holistic chart to get a better read here, right? So if I'm looking at annual seasonality on Edgefinder, what we can see is that the NASDAQ typically has a really nice performance into this. I mean, this period of year so far has been good, in line with historical patterns. Even if you're bearish on the NASDAQ, I've heard a lot of people who are bearish and really concerned about this rally still kind of acknowledging, you don't really want to fight that last little, end of year rally. Maybe as you get into seasonally some of the worst periods of time, February, March, August, September of next year, maybe that's a period of time where you get some softness in the market. And it doesn't, this is not a guarantee, right? We could still see a surprise down move. In 2018, we had a huge sell-off in November, December, which was very counter to this trend. So it's not a guarantee, but we never have guarantees in markets. All we have as traders is data and educated guesses. Loading up VIX calls, what do you think? So again, where's our seasonality for VIX? Don't we have that? I'm pretty sure we do. There it is. Okay. The VIX historically in November moves lower, right? So we have that data. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of VIX calls. I was long VIX calls into the move that we had back October 10th, and I closed out half, and then I closed out the other half on the following Monday. VIX calls printed really well over here. I bought VIX calls. I was a little bit early, and then closed them on this day, and then closed the second half here. Obviously missed a little bit further of the upside move in the VIX, but I got out of there. But I think, if I'm ever buying VIX calls, it's usually as a portfolio hedge, and it's usually when we're back down at the lows. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the likely scenario for end of year is to continue to see this rally push. Let's see, what else do we have? So I wanted to look at some sentiment. Put to call ratio. What's going on with our, let me just refresh, see if that fixes it. There it is. Okay. So I'm looking at put to call ratio as well. This shows us options flows. What we can see here is that We got really bullish a couple days ago. Now we are back in neutral territory. So no strong signals there. Let me also look at gold. Gold, no strong signals there. You know what would be cool? Would be some sort of table that would show us which of these has high put to call ratios. That would be really interesting to build. US oil still neutral. SPX neutral. What else do we have here? Bitcoin went from a little bit bullish sentiment to now back into neutral. Dow Jones almost bearish. Nikkei's in high put demand area. Interestingly, the Nikkei's at like all-time highs. I use that as a contrarian indicator, by the way. We just looked at the put to call ratio. It's one of my favorite indicators. Oh, look at this. Japanese stock market's down here 2.25%. It's not saying that much though, because this thing's just been a rocket ship. It's been a really, really good year turnaround wise for the Nikkei. It's been a monster. S&P 500 is coming back to these prior all-time highs here. Again, path of least resistance, I would say that area probably holds. And if it doesn't, I would, cut that idea. But I'm curious to see NASDAQ and Russell. Am I going to stop out of the Russell or am I going to stay in it? And then also with Bitcoin, right? I'm probably going to stop out of Bitcoin. This trade has been off. You win some, you lose some. My gold trade, I'm still short. I trimmed my risk here this morning, taking my stop loss from like here to here. So just trimmed it. I do this with a lot of my trades where, if we get a nice reversal pretty quick, then I'll go ahead and just trim that risk just in case you get something like this. If this is going to print a higher low and go higher, then I just want to take the trade off. So yeah. Nick, forget the pound dollar. Can we go over the DXY? It's approaching major resistance at the 100 zone, but news comes out today. Do you think it can push higher if positive news comes out? What news do we have today? Look at that. Dollar's still going. What news are you looking for? I'm not sure that we have major economic data. When does services PMI? Is that tomorrow? Yeah, services PMI is tomorrow. ADP also comes out tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to probably be our big economic data day. But yeah, you are sitting at resistance on the higher time frames. I just don't have a very strong conviction on the dollar right now. I went long. Actually, I do have one trade remaining long dollar. So I had two big trades, or not big trades, but I had two trades. The UUP trade, which I closed out, which was a dollar basket long position through an ETF. You can search up UUP if you want. I was long UUP. I closed that out, took profits on it, and I'm also still long dollar Swiss franc. I'm now nicely in the green on this one, but I'm probably going to cut the trade because I'll tell you what, if we go really quick, did we get any currencies that joined the roster? We did. The Australian dollar getting a bullish rating. Really interesting. Yeah, if you ever need to know when we're going live, thanks to the producer, we have a stream schedule that's posted up on our website. It's a1trading.com. I'll show you. Everyone should go to the A1 Trading website really quick because here's why. If you go right here, oh, look at this. This looks nice. Julie did some nice little updating on the site. Oh, and look at that. We've got a pop-up that looks beautiful, space themed. Anyways, if you ever need to know what our live stream schedule is looking like, head over to a1trading.com, click A1 live stream, and number one, you can watch it from there, which is pretty cool, but you can also check the schedule here. So anytime you need to know like, hey, when are we going live? Which days are we covering? Our superhero producer behind the scenes keeps us in the loop and keeps everyone on schedule for this. So keeps us honest, if you will. So if you need to, it might be worth just bookmarking this page. Just head over to a1trading.com, click A1 live stream and bookmark this somewhere. And that way you can pull it up. If you're a regular, I know we have a lot of people who are super regulars to the show. And if you just want to stay up to date with it, that's one way to do it. So thanks to everybody who is a regular stream viewer. Real quick, we've got Marco here and who's about to join. I got two things for you. Number one, if you're somebody who's here at least once a week, can you give me a yes in the chat or me in the chat? I just want to see how many of you guys like regularly tune in. Is this a daily ritual for you? You know, I'll tell you something. I'll let you in on a little secret. This is a daily ritual for me because I'm literally here every day. Other than weekends, but even on the weekends, we put out videos. I think I spend more time in front of a camera than I do with my own kids, which is a certainty because I don't have kids. Anyways, okay. So lots of yeses in the chat. Thank you for being here. I genuinely, appreciate everyone who spends time with me every day. I really genuinely do hope that by watching my content, if you could pick up from some of the mistakes that I've made in trading, it would give me some fulfillment in life. That's one of the coolest things about my job. Like, this is a business. We sell a product. There's no question. I'm not doing this for free or for charity. We sell something that I think is worth every penny, but it's not charity work. However, it doesn't mean that I don't get immense fulfillment from giving some nuggets here and there that I've learned the hard way that hopefully will help you in your journey. Like, that's pretty cool for me. So thank you for being here every day and being a part of what we do on the stream. Don't go anywhere. Next show host is pulling up. Last thing I'll say before we throw over the stream to Marco, who is, by the way, he's going to do a DNA funded giveaway, I think, today. Is that right, Marco? I think we're doing that today. We're going to give away another copy or another DNA funded account. Is it a 25K? Yeah, gave me the thumbs up. He's back studio. I can see him. We're doing another 25K giveaway for DNA funded. Don't go anywhere because that is coming up next on the stream. Last thing I'll say, remember, Edge Finder 45% off sale. If you see yourself long here, get yourself a copy of the Edge Finder. What are you doing? If you're a macro trader, if you're serious about this stuff, get a copy of the Edge Finder. Number one, you support our work, which is really cool and we appreciate it. But number two, and more importantly, you get the tools that you need if you're trying to be a macro trader. We have people all over the world using Edge Finder to help them better track market sentiment, crowd sentiment, find better setups through the use of macro fundamental data, and maybe most importantly, filtering out some of the noise and only showing you charts that have pretty strong readings in our three main categories: sentiment, technical, and economic data. We just added a new AI market screener for news, so it keeps you up to date with what's happening based on your favorite charts. We also have a new AI market scanner, which gives you a summarized view of any asset that you want to select. You can get a quick breakdown on anything you want. We also have economic data. We have our economic heat maps if you want to better study what's going on with the US economy or the EU economy. I mean, look, this is like that guy that has a car in his garage and spends all his time working on it, except the difference here is we do that with a product that can be shared across the world for people who are trying to improve their trading through macro and market sentiment. Pick up a copy, man. You won't regret it. It is a great tool. And I think more people who are serious about this stuff should get a copy. That's why I sell it every single day. And it's a shameless plug. Pick it up, 45% off. Click the link that's just been dropped in the chat or scan the QR code below my camera here. Take your trading to the next level with Edge Finder. And up next, you've got Marco. Stay tuned. He's just after this. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in for a second and let you know a little bit about today's live stream sponsor, DNA Funded. DNA Funded has very generous profit sharing, up to 90%, and 3 different unique challenge types. For those looking to get funded, they also have speedy payouts, unlimited trading days on the first and second phase of their challenges, a very wide list of different things you can trade with over 800 different assets tradable, and maybe the most important component, a very experienced team behind the the whole operation. So if you're interested in learning more about DNA Funded, click the link, check it out, see if it's right for you, and make sure to do your own due diligence to see if what they have to offer fits your trading style. For 20% off, you can use code A1T20. Again, that will be 20% off any of their challenges you'd like to check out. Thank you again to DNA Funded for sponsoring today's live stream. Now back to the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to my segment of the stream. So I hope everyone is doing well. Yes, I will be giving away a 25K one-phase DNA challenge. So if you stay tuned to the stream, in 10 or 15 minutes, I will release the code. So how it will work, the fastest hands, the fastest eyes, and the fastest connection is going to get the code. So you need to be ready on the DNA Fund website and watch my screen because I will copy and paste it in my trading view. So getting into the markets, NASDAQ is actually crashing lower as far as I can tell. Let me check the S&P. S&P is also going lower. So looks like the stock market is exhausted a bit. Gold is continuing the pullback. Silver, pretty much the same. Euro GBP is actually continuing to go higher, which is interesting. I'm considering possible buy setups. UJ, my long trade is starting to pull back. I'm actually considering closing this manually before the take profit because it no longer looks as high probability as it did look before. One of my main bets, one of the main confluences to take this trade was the end of the month corporate buying of the dollar. Okay, today is the 4th of November, so the trade may not make as much sense anymore. We are sort of approaching the intervention level as well, where you could get some talks about an intervention. And the whole dollar long story that I was talking about may be a bit overextended. Maybe we need to see a bit of a pullback because we have just been crushing higher. I mean, the DXY is just continuing to crush higher, so maybe a bit of a pullback is coming. USD CAD is just running like crazy to the upside, so this has been a great trade so far. Game plan is to trail my stop loss, to trail the position once I get a bit of a pullback. So once I get a new swing low like this, I'll be able to move my stop loss below the swing low. I still believe USD CAD is one of the best currency trades for 2025. So I still think this is going to be great for 2025. We still have 2 months to go, even maybe beginning of 2026, just to refresh your memory. I'm talking about the long-term data out of Canada. So the GDP, negative and overall very bad. The unemployment, sky high. Relative to other economies, this is very problematic, 7.1%, very, very bad. Inflation on the CAD is 2.4%, okay? That is pretty high, that is above target. Usually central banks target 2%, right? If it's above 2%, you have a problem. So essentially you're getting a stagflation scenario. A stagflation is never positive for the currency. Would you like to be in Canada right now with these numbers, with unemployment rate being at 7.2%? I don't think so. So I'm expecting further weakening of the CAD relative to other currencies. That is what I'm forecasting. USD CAD is working pretty nicely. Euro CAD is unfortunately in some drawdown, and I'm considering maybe manually closing this one because the euro has lost, I would say, some of the strength, some of the appeal. And this position has just been flat and stagnant and range bound and hasn't been doing anything. So I am considering possibly closing this. We just haven't had any developments. Yeah, just from the day that I entered, which was on the 16th of September, we just haven't moved at all. So this was like almost now approaching 2 months. 2 months being in the position, that is a pretty long time. and for the position to not print any profit. So I may cut the losses short. Of course, all of the updates will be released in the A1 Discord. Of course, these were all trade signals. So if I take any updates, make any updates, you will be notified. JXY is actually pointing higher today. So the JXY is up on the day as well as the dollar. So the dollar is going higher, the JXY is going higher as well. Interesting stuff, although I'm net bearish on the JXY just because there is a downtrend, just because there is kind of a clash between the central bank and the prime minister, and the prime minister is pretty dovish, so she wants to possibly even weaken the yen, or not weaken the yen, but I would say she doesn't mind if the yen weakens further. Okay, so I would say that was a big surprise. Her winning, her becoming the prime minister, that was a big surprise. There was supposed to be a hawkish prime minister, so this is now a bit of a shock to the markets. Now, crypto is falling as well. Crypto is crashing as well, which is pretty interesting. Ethereum is down, Bitcoin is down. Let me show you something interesting. So if you go to the NASDAQ chart, if you click the plus button, you add Bitcoin and you add new price scale, what can you see right here? What can you see right here? So remember the crash at the beginning of the year. Well, Bitcoin actually topped out before the NASDAQ. Okay, see? Bitcoin topped out before the NASDAQ and then it started going lower. Well, could the same thing be happening again? Bitcoin started going lower while the NASDAQ keeps kind of going higher, but possibly topping out. So this is something I'm closely watching, closely following this correlation, and it may be a sign that the NASDAQ could have a bit of a drop, a bit of a pullback alongside with Bitcoin. So it's not definite, it's not 100% certainty, but it may happen, right? As it happened in February of 2025. It may not be as drastic, so the crash may not be as big as this one, but again, a healthy pullback, healthy correction may happen. So I'm going to delete this. This is, by the way, a great feature in TradingView. Just click on the plus button, compare, and then find the thing you want to compare. Very, very easy. Okay. One thing also, I've been watching for the stock market. So we know there is an AI bubble. We know about artificial intelligence. And where is my moving average? So we know about artificial intelligence. We know that there is massive buying because of artificial intelligence. Well, if you have been watching the story lately, you would notice that the artificial intelligence story is getting a bit stale. It used to be that when a company partnered with OpenAI, the underlying stock price of the company would explode. Well, lately, the moves have been smaller and smaller. So more and more companies have been partnering with OpenAI. It's just smoke and mirrors. It is just a marketing tactic. And it has had diminishing returns. So the returns have been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Also, you had a couple of conference calls, for example, from Meta. Okay. And the last time on the conference call, when they mentioned that they're going to spend a bunch of money in the upcoming few months or few years on AI, the markets loved it. But this time they had a conference call and they said the same thing. They said they were going to spend a bunch of money on artificial intelligence. Well, the price just keeps going lower. I'm not sure when the conference call was, but I just know there was a clearly bearish reaction. So the narrative has flipped. AI was the buzzword. AI was this word. If you put it in your name or connected with your company, you're going to get an explosion in the share price. Same thing with the .com bubble. In the .com bubble, a company that put .com in their name immediately gained value in the stock market. Well, we have now started to see that that sort of phenomenon has had diminishing returns, and people are no longer buying the I would say a naughty word, but I can't because we're streaming. Anyways, people are noticing that it's all smoke and mirrors, right? You're not gonna sit there and tell me that every single company can take advantage of OpenAI and massively increase their profit margins. That just is not realistic. Yes, some companies will definitely grow. Some companies will definitely be able to replace workers with AI, but most companies are just using OpenAI and AI as a buzzword to basically help their share price. Why am I telling you this? Well, you have to notice the price. You have to notice the price. We are massively overextended. We haven't had a big pullback. The pullbacks have been minimal. And the biggest fuel behind this push was NVIDIA and OpenAI and artificial intelligence. And if the story with artificial intelligence is getting stale, the price may correct, right? Now, is this a sign to sell? Am I telling you go ahead and sell the NASDAQ? Absolutely not. So you're going to lose a lot of money if you sell the NASDAQ. I'm just telling you to be alert, to be patient, and if an opportunity presents itself to buy a massive dip, if we do get a big pullback, I'm going to be buying. So if we get this again, or something like this, I will definitely be a buyer to get things cheap, to get things on a nice discount. Again, I'm looking for possible short-term buys. I'm definitely not looking to go short. You just need to follow the trend until the bend at the end. That's the saying. So follow the trend until the bend at the end. That is what we can see here. We're still in an uptrend. Technicals have been untouched, so there is zero reason to sell. I'm just telling you, the OpenAI story, the artificial intelligence story is getting a bit stale. We may get a bigger pullback. We may get a bigger correction, and that is when it's time to bring the guns out and buy like crazy. Just buy. Okay. So let me see some of the comments. Hey, ball out, what's up? Marco, I haven't slept because of the DNA giveaway. Well, I hope you're ready because I'm going to do it in like 2 minutes. Hey, Sluggy. Marco, I have been watching your videos. Go back to sorry hairstyle. I see you like boats as well. I do love boats. Sorry hairstyle. I'm not sure what that hairstyle is. Yoshi, hello. Sluggy is the fastest when it comes to DNA challenge giveaways, so you have a lot of competition. But maybe Sluggy's internet will lag today. We will see. Sluggy is the only reason you won is because I'm not interested in fund account and I didn't enter the competition. Marco, cut UJ, my man. I'm considering it. So I'm actually considering cutting UJ because it seems a bit stale. It seems like there needs to be a bit of a pause, right? So possibly, maybe a bit overextended. Yeah, maybe time for me to take the profits and run. What is happening with everything falling? Just another day in the markets. How does the giveaway work? Just fill in the code on the website and press buy. Yes, just fill in the discount code 25K one phase challenge. Please, about the giveaway, give a chance to a broke guy like me. Well, there's going to be more giveaways, but you know, the fastest hands are going to get it. Just the way the giveaway works. As a candle, explain how you feel today. I feel like the third wave in the Elliott wave to the upside. Okay, hope that helps. That are as crazy. Marcus trades all time consuming. Okay, time for the giveaway. Let me copy the code. So 3, 2, 1, 0.9, 0.7, 0.6, and here it is. So 25K, one phase account, free challenge. Whoever gets it, put it in the comments. Will it be Sluggy? Will it be someone else? No one knows. There's a high chance it'll be Sluggy because he has had a pretty good win rate so far. So his statistics are pretty good. And also, let me mention the sponsor of today's video. Since we're talking about DNA, they are also the sponsor. And if you do want to get trading capital, if you want to expand your capital, DNA Funded is the best way to go because they are a reliable prop firm ran by professionals. They're one of the only few prop firms actually ran by professionals and by legit people. Rest of the prop firms, I mean, like 98% of them are ran by 18-year-olds in their basement. So you kind of don't want to go that route. But the cool thing about DNA is with our discount code, which is A1 Live, you get 25% off every challenge. So if you want to get 25% off specifically for you guys watching the streams, A1 Live, make sure to use the code. By the way, this is my DNA Funded challenge, 50K, currently in plus 4.13%. Equity is 53K.115. This is the challenge where I take trade signals from ChatGPT every day and I copy them into a DNA Funded challenge. Currently have open 2 trades, a sell on euro dollar, which I think is a great trade, and a buy on the S&P, which I think is, well, it's probably a good trade. Much better to be a buyer of the S&P than a seller. But these are completely made by ChatGPT, so far running some very steady profits. I will update you on the situation. One thing I love about DNA is they're using Trade Locker, which is so far the best execution software I have ever used. So just for your information. Gold tanking, risk on tanking. Michael Burry started his big short on the AI bubble. I mean, yeah, you can go short on the AI bubble. I'm just worried about ending up like Robert Kiyosaki, who is a perma bear, and he's absolutely always short on the stock market, which is a losing proposition. So perma bears always lose money. They get a lot of clicks, but they're super broke. I mean, he's not broke because he's a marketing genius, but calling the top, selling constantly is going to lead to blown accounts. Following Michael Burry, I know he's an amazing guy, really smart guy, but I haven't done any research on his current analysis, so I don't have anything to say on that. I just know about Robert Kiyosaki that he's a scammer, maybe. A bit of a scammer, a little bit. Gold is dumping, Edgefinder, accurate data. Yes, I think, is it a sell on? I haven't checked. Let me see. Neutral reading, silver, neutral as well. Okay, cool. What type of DNA Fund account are you giving out? It was a 25K account, and I still have some more codes. So if you want to get more challenges, join me tomorrow. Okay, so I'll be streaming every single day this week. I still have a couple more codes. Join me, watch the streams, and maybe you can get a free challenge. If bond prices increase when the stock market increases, does that mean something is not right? Possibly, could be. It's not the general way things go. So it's the same thing or it's not the same thing, but it's similar to if the stock market goes up, but the VIX goes up as well. Okay, so that means something is off, something is fishy. The rule is stock market goes up, VIX goes down. That should be how things work. If the stock market is going up with the VIX going up, then you have a problem. Something is not right. Put that code in the chat. Sorry, I cannot put it in the chat, but I think it's already used. Maybe tomorrow I'll put it in the chat. Watch A1 trading every single day. We'll continue to do so till I can afford to get the Edge Finder and even after. Nick rocks. Yes, so thank you very much for watching. For the Edge Finder, we're currently running a massive sale. You can use the code MARKO. I think it's 40 or 45% off. So definitely do check it out. We're running a massive discount during November on the A1 group and on the Edge Finder. You can also get a payment plan if you cannot pay it and to our support. Link is in the description. You can let them know your situation, let them know from where you're reaching out from which country, and maybe we can get a special deal for you, a special payment plan. So definitely do reach out. You have nothing to lose and you have unlimited upside to gain. So I'm not participating because I'm not my PC. No worries, no worries. Okay, someone did catch the code. I think someone did catch it. Hey, Mark, are you still in Euro Swiss? Was curious after seeing Swiss data. No. So I talked about Euro Swiss. I talked about potentially buying the bottom. I decided against it. I just saw some data. I did some research. I saw that usually during the end of the month, in the last few days, Euro Swiss likes to lose value. So that was a big negative confluence. I also saw the Swiss central bank being very, very quiet as far as an intervention goes. They didn't mention absolutely anything. So I didn't get in. But if someone did buy this bottom, it would have been a very high probability setup. And it would be running some steady profits. So congratulations to anyone who did catch this bottom. Okay. For me personally, I unfortunately did not take advantage, but it was a very interesting trade idea. The thinking was this level is a heavy level of support. This is pretty strong. Fundamentals were that the Swiss central bank is going to come in. They're going to basically sell the Swiss, weaken the Swiss, and they're going to push the price higher because they need to do it to keep exports cheap, to keep US people buying Rolexes and Omegas and Swiss cheese and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they want to keep exports cheap. That's why they want to lower the value of the Swiss. That was the thinking. Now, did they do it? Did they actually step in and buy Euro Swiss or sell the Swiss, buy the Euro? Not sure. No one really knows. But it was a general trade idea. Max won. Okay, awesome. So looks like Max won the 25K giveaway. He was faster than Sluggy this time. Congratulations to Max. And tomorrow I have a new one for you. Mark, was that DNA giveaway only for today? No. Tomorrow we have another one. Same thing, 25K one phase. JOLTS job openings today. Which watch do you have? I have a Casio. I think I don't wear a watch very regularly, but I do have a Casio. I don't know what the name SKX, something like that. And I have a Omega that I got from my grandpa, basically like heritage. So I don't wear that one a lot because I don't want to break it. I'm long on Aussie Swiss. It's a short-term swing trade. At least I hope it's going to be quick. Aussie Swiss, okay. Marco, would there be a DNA funded with huge discounts more than 25%? No, I don't think so. I think 25% is the biggest discount that we will have for now. So let me check the Forex calendar. Let's see that. You have to know US government is in shutdown, so we're still not getting regular news. We do have the ADP non-farm employment, which is going to come out weekly. That's going to be interesting, but that is tomorrow. Today, we had no dollar news. We only had the Aussie. They kept rates the same. We have the New Zealand employment change in a couple of hours, basically. But I can tell you what I'm personally watching. First thing, I'm watching if the US government shutdown finally ends. So can we finally reach an agreement between the Republicans, Democrats, and Trump? He's like the third wing of the let's say government. I'm not sure, but anyways, you have Democrats, Republicans, and Trump. All three of them need to make a deal. Can they do it? Trump is the deal maker, so I hope they can. Until they do, we will have zero data coming out except some of these smaller prints and CPI. CPI always comes out because it's super, super, super important. So I'm watching the ADP. It is a nice precursor to the NFP. It's coming out weekly, so we can add up the numbers and we can get a rough estimate of the NFP print. So that should be a big one tomorrow. You can join my stream. You can see what I personally think about it. And we have ISM services PMIs. And we have tentative events like NFP. I don't think they're going to reach a deal. I don't think the government shutdown will end this week. But if it does, we should get NFP on Friday. Okay. Again, I think the chances for that are pretty slim. Let me also check the Fed Watch tool. What is priced in for December? Let's see. For December, it's climbing. It was 60%. So we have a 68.9% chance that there will be a rate cut in December. So it's climbing. Looks like people are gaining more and more confidence that there will be a rate cut in December. I'm betting on possibly a hawkish cut, which means you have a rate cut, but Powell comes in and says, we're concerned about inflation, blah, blah, blah. He comes out hawkish. Guess what the market does? You would think that the dollar loses value, but no, the dollar actually gains value because the interest rate decision, if it comes out as forecasted, is not that important. The most important part is the forward guidance. So hawkish cut on the 17th of September, hawkish cut on the 29th of October. Both times price of the dollar exploded higher. Government taco incoming. I'm looking for taco trades. Tomorrow it's either me or Max. Yes, the battle of the greats is going to be sluggy. Is going to be Max who is going to catch the free challenge. Anyways, I'm looking for a taco trade on the NASDAQ. So Mr. Trump, if you can come in with a crazy announcement, crazy tweet or a crazy tariff, like you did on the 10th of October, I would be very, very grateful so that I can buy the dip. Because this was an amazing trade. I think Nick did manage to catch this. And yeah, I'm waiting for this thing to happen again. Because it's so easy. So easy. The win rate is so high. I think Chris Pulver is going to talk more about this in our webinar coming in November. So tune in on the webinar. More information is on the A1 Trading website, I believe. So no news today. Pretty much no news today. So much hype with AI, and a shutdown is all it takes to stop publishing key data. Yeah, that's just how it works. This is not the first time. We have had many shutdowns in the past. Usually, they don't last longer than 35 days. Okay, usually they don't last longer than like 35, maybe 40 days. That is just if you look at the probabilities, if you look at the past events. So to wrap up the session, let me tell you what I'm watching. So the NASDAQ is possibly recovering. S&P, is it recovering as well? Yes. So we are recovering from the wick or from the sell-off. Gold is actually pulling back even more. Silver pulling back even more. I'm actually looking to buy at these levels, but I would need a confirmation from the Edge Finder. Euro GBP crushing higher, although I don't think I'll take a buy setup. I've looked at the euro. It kind of looks a bit weak. UJ, I'm considering to close UJ prematurely. Of course, you will get updated in the A1 Discord. If you want to join the A1 Discord, there's a massive discount with my code, MARKO. If you want to trade together, get my signals, you can do so. And USD CAD, trailing the position, looks absolutely amazing. Euro CAD, looking to prematurely exit. So I'm looking to manually close this trade. Haven't yet decided. I'll think it through. I'll do some more research by the end of the day. That is about it. Thank you guys very much for watching. See you tomorrow. And the fastest guy will get, or girl will get the free challenge. See you.
You've been watching A1 Trading Live. We're here Monday through Friday, where you can tune in to hear insights from professional traders from all over the world. All month long, our products are 40% off, the biggest discount of the entire year. You can get access to our trading softwares, trading community, and so much more right now on our website, a1trading.com. Make sure to subscribe for future streams, and don't forget, If you're looking to get access to free courses, prop firm discounts, and free trading tools, as well as massive discounts on all our products, head over to a1trading.com. See you next time.